Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to How to Be a Boss channel, and today I want to talk about getting as a man not being forced into marriage. Ever since they are young, girls dream of getting married and how their big day will be perfect. They imagine every minute detail to how she looks, what dress she will wear, how the groom will look, the amount of people at the wedding, the venue of the wedding, the moment they say I do, and her driving off to her honeymoon. Modern television shows, films, newspapers and magazines promote the idea that marriage is one of the most important institutions in modern society and life is not complete until marriage has occurred. There is a plethora of reasons why marriage makes perfect sense to women, as once they are married, they have probably picked a financially secure man who will be able to provide the resources that she desires, which will lead to children. If anything goes wrong, then the courts of the land will protect and favour the woman in any divorce proceedings. Thus, she is set for life if she chooses the correct man to marry. Most women, when they meet a man, will be constantly testing and assessing the man to see whether he'll be a viable marriage partner. If the man doesn't have the traits that she is looking for, then she will quickly discard him and keep the search for Mr. Right in every aspect of her life. When a woman does find the right guy for her, she will be slowly but surely trying to change him from his alpha ways and to get him to commit to her in the future. Depending on how alpha her partner is, this process can either be short or can take years to finally get him to take the next steps in the relationship. Women will get frustrated if this process takes too long by asking the gentleman, "What are we doing? Where are we going?" To her, she'll even be prepared to give the man an ultimatum that he either commits to her or she will move on to another guy. The question here is, should the guy commit and ask her to marry, or should he let her walk away? In my opinion, guys should not marry if they are not, 1, financially not ready, 2, they still want to play the field, and 3, they're not emotionally ready either. So on point number 1, not being financially ready. Sometimes a guy will meet a girl who he really likes, but to keep the relationship going, he needs to financially stretch himself. Maybe the guy had a period of bad luck and is getting back on his feet, but every step in the relationship process takes money. Generally, during the initial courting phase, the man will probably have to spend more money than the girl. If they choose to take their relationship up a level and move in together via renting, this will require money to pay for the added bills. Eventually, the girl will say, "Let's get a place of our own," which requires deposits and the guy to be in a steady paying job to meet the mortgage requirements. If a guy is not in a good position with his wealth, then I would advise him to let the woman go to avoid problems further down the road in their relationships. 80% of marriages break up due to money problems. So why stress yourself out to keep her happy when there are lots of other girls out there who won't place such demands on you? A recent example of a guy trying to stretch themselves when they didn't have the money for marriage is George from 90 Day Fiancé, a television show in America. George made the massive mistake of trying to marry a girl who was only interested in money and living a life she could not afford for herself. She asked him for $10,000 a month as an allowance and expected him to cater to all her needs. To make this a reality, George decided to take drastic action and traffic marijuana, where he got caught and was sentenced to a jail term. There is no surprise that the moment George got sent down and the money stopped, his wife Anfisa started to look for another man to supply her lifestyle, and she didn't visit George in jail. Being in jail with thousands of other dudes probably woke George up to what he was doing, and he said he and Anfisa will be getting a divorce once he is released from prison. Point number 2, still wanting to play the field. A situation that happens to a lot of young men who have professional success in their late teens or early 20s, like athletes, musicians, actors, or entrepreneurs, is they meet a woman who they like, but due to their professional success, a whole new world and opportunity opens up to them. The girl that they like or meet during this early phase is just one of many that they can meet in the future. These gentlemen want to have their cake and eat it. They want to keep their present girl at home and even lie to them and themselves by marrying them and promising to be faithful for the rest of their lives. However, due to their success, they are invited to lavish parties and events where the most glamorous and beautiful women attend, where any guy's head would be turned. They find that the public, especially women, flock to them and offer themselves, as they either see a payday for selling a story on the star or a long-term future with him. Many stars have fallen foul to this situation, such as soccer stars Wayne Rooney, who married his high school sweetheart Colleen and cheated on her several times with prostitutes, which national newspapers picked up, but she was kind enough to forgive him. Another soccer player was Ashley Cole, who was married to a famous pop singer called Cheryl Tweedy from the band Girls Aloud. He cheated on her many times until she had enough and finally got a divorce from him. One of the biggest and most costly examples of this phenomenon was golfer Tiger Woods, who cheated on his wife Ellen multiple times, which cost him $200 million in the divorce settlement. Therefore, if you still want to play the field, then let the girl move on, because by marrying her, you'll set yourself up for failure. You'll have to live a double life where you have to tell lies to cover even more lies, and when your wife does find out, she'll either want a divorce or a financial payout, which will ruin years of professional hard work. Point number 3, not being emotionally ready for marriage. Some guys are just not emotionally ready for the demands that marriage places on them. So they pursue women who are older than them to convince themselves they are ready for marriage. An example is Ashton Kutcher, the actor, who married Demi Moore, who was 16 years older than him. When they got married, he was just 27, and according to reports, she was very controlling in contrast to his carefree attitude. The marriage didn't last long, and they divorced after 6 years. And he remarried to Mila Kunis, who is a similar age to him. If you don't feel emotionally ready for marriage, then work on yourself first, and when you feel satisfied and happy with yourself, then you can be in a long-term relationship.